All right, Matt the Mortgage Guy here. I want to record a quick video. How important is the buying agent? Now, as a mortgage broker, I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm going to give you some fairly non-biased third-party opinion. How important is a buying agent? What you should look for in a buying agent? What you should avoid in a buying agent? What good buying agents do? What bad buying agents do? And everything in between. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, like, hit the bell, do all that stuff. I appreciate it. Straightforward real estate, mortgage, investing advice. All right, let's jump into it. I want to get into the meat and potatoes, provide as much value as possible, because as a mortgage broker, I get to deal with hundreds of agents. I almost said I get the pleasure of dealing with hundreds of agents, but agents will agree with me and they won't take offense to this. Not all agents are created equal. There's some really good ones and there's some not so good ones. And in this video, I'm going to try to convince you as a buyer using a high quality full-time buyer's agent is in your best interest. So first and foremost, if you don't know what any of it means, a buying agent represents you when you're buying a house. And most transactions are going to have a buyer's agent representing a buyer and a listing agent or a selling agent representing the seller. So there's a seller and there's a buyer and there's an agent representing each one, two different agents. And so that's how real estate transactions get done generally. There's some caveats and there's some situations where it's for sale by owner or an agent's representing both sides, but for the most part, it's how 98% of transactions get done. So now that you know that, another thing that you should know, a very important piece of it, is that you, the buyer, do not pay a dime to the buying agent. That service is provided to you for free. The seller who's selling the house is paying both agents' commissions. Both the agent that listed their house and is selling their house and the agent that brings the buyer. That's paid by the seller. So as a buyer, you are in a great position. You get to have representation on your side that you don't pay for. And this is important because whether you use the very best agent or the agent that's brand new or does one deal every 4 years, you're going to pay the same, which is zero, right? And so it's in your best interest to use the very best agent. And the very best agent for you might not be the very best agent for me or for somebody down the street. This is something to consider. You want an agent that knows specifics about where you're trying to buy. There's some agents that are great with certain parts of Sacramento, certain parts of Placer County, certain parts of this area. And sure, they can spread and go out a little farther, but the very best of them concentrate on a certain area. They know it front to back. They know the agents there. They know how to get deals done. They know certain issues that come up that is area specific. If it's outside their area, they'll refer it. And so that's one thing to think about. Another thing to think about is that this is the biggest transaction of your life. And this one drives me a little bit bonkers because I get to deal with it and experience and see it. And it's kind of, it's tough on me. I've got a buyer who's super excited. It's their very first house and they're spending $500,000. They've waited 36 years to be in a position to do it. And they've got an agent who's representing them who may be a great person, but just doesn't know real estate, hasn't taken the time. Maybe they work a full-time job and this is kind of a side hobby, passion, whatever you want to call it. Usually not a passion because they just, even if they're very good people, they just don't know enough to really be adding value to the deal. They haven't done enough deals and they haven't, invested the time and energy and the education and worked with a quality brokerage or worked on a quality team where they can see transactions, they can see what to do when certain things come up with inspections, with negotiations. And so as a buyer, what you want to look for, in my opinion, if it was me, somebody who is specific to the area you're looking. And if somebody comes to me and they don't have an agent yet, I have to ask them questions before I refer them an agent. I don't just say, work with Doug because he's the best agent ever, or work with Sarah because she's a rock star. I've got to figure out, okay, you're looking in this specific neighborhood. That's a neighborhood that Dan knows really well. I'm going to refer you to Dan. Whatever the case may be, you're looking at a certain price point, at a certain neighborhood, at a certain part of town, whatever it is. There's agents that know that front to back. They've lived there, worked there, studied that neighborhood, worked with all the agents in that. They've seen every single listing that's come up for the last 4.5 years. They can tell you every single house that sold, what it sold for, what condition it was in, all that stuff. Imagine that person versus your next door neighbor's cousin who you met at housewarming party at your neighbor's house who does something full time and then works part time in real estate, been doing it for 6 years, only closed 4 deals. And so when something comes up, she goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that from 2016. Guidelines have changed, baby girl. Things aren't the same that they were in 2016, so that's not even relevant." The agents that are doing 30, 40, 50, 60 transactions a year are the ones that can give you the very best advice and get you through this, as much as all mortgage advisors and all real estate agents would like to promise you, it's smooth sailing. There's not going to be any issues. There's going to be a solar lien that pops up. There's going to be something on the inspection that needs to be cleared up. There's going to be, something on the preliminary title report that you didn't anticipate and you want someone to explain it to you. All these things that come up, you're buying a $500,000 asset, or I don't know, some parts of the country, $125,000 asset. I always use bigger numbers than when people from outside of California hear me talking. They're like, "What are you talking about? We don't have any houses like that in Ohio." So for all the Ohio folks, 125. But no matter where you are in the country, you want to get with a high quality professional. People sometimes ask me, like, where can I find somebody? If you talk to a high level mortgage person, they're going to be able to have a vast network of, closed hundreds of real estate transactions in that area. I know what agents are great for the specific area, price point, and even to your personality type. You might be somebody who's, I don't know, introverted and shy, and I'll hook you up with an introverted and shy real estate agent. You guys will be shy together. Or you might be, straightforward and a nutcase like me. I'll introduce you to another nutcase who you vibe with, and you can do it that way. So that's one way to go about it. You can go online and, reviews are great. Most real estate agents who are doing great in 2021 are not being shy about it. They are advertising on social media. They're sharing their wins. They've got a quote unquote social presence, and that's one way to do it. You can get on Nextdoor, you can get on Facebook or your social media thing of choice and ask for neighborhood recommendations. Whenever I see something on mortgage or real estate within my neighborhood groups online, you'll see the same names that come up over and over again. And people say, "This person's great, this person's great, this person's great." If you see the same name 6 times, chances are they're good, right? And so do that. I think that one place where people get, I don't know if I want to say misled, but if you go on to Yelp or Zillow or somewhere else and there's a section where somebody can pay, I've got Yelp reviews that I've never paid or anything to show up on their search, but I might because of positive reviews. But like Zillow, there's agents that might pay $2,000 a month to show up in that box. Might not necessarily mean they're great. Sometimes they are. Great agents pay, so I don't want to knock that, right? But paid advertisements might not mean as much as some firsthand experienced, folks in the neighborhood saying, "I used Sarah and she was great." So that's all my advice. I made a video probably 5 or 6 years ago that was basically saying why not to use your brother-in-law or your cousin, and it ties in nicely here. They could be great people, but just because I've got a sister-in-law who's great doesn't mean that if she likes doctor shows, I'm going to let her do open heart surgery on me. It's just, I'm going to find the best open heart surgeon in the area to do open heart surgery. The same is for real estate. You got somebody who does it for fun and does a couple deals, great. You find a kind way to tell them, "I'm using the person who did 77 deals last year," or "I'm using the agent who's on the team that did 300 deals. That's one last point I'll end on, is that even if an agent is fairly new, what I've found to be true is that if they're on a team that has built rock star systems and they've got 5 or 6 buy agents that are under a team of the very best agents in the area, those agents have been trained well, they have all the resources of the team, they will crush it for you. So don't knock an agent because they're new, because agents who are 2 or 3 years in that are doing 25, 30, 40 deals a year are way better than Sally, who's been doing it for 26 years, but she only does 4 deals a year. She's not going to be out there hustling and hard and doing as much for you as this person who's growing their business and did 40 deals last year on a great team of agents that crush it. So that's all I got. Any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. Matt, M-A-T-T, at mattthemortgageguy.com. If you're in California, I'm happy to help. If you're outside of California, feel free to shoot me a message anyway, and I will do my best to either answer your question or refer you to a broker in the area who can help you out whatever state you're in. Thanks for watching.